Good morning and welcome to Fort Zeller Elementary School. This is your principal, Mr. Lin, and I hope that you had a wonderful Monday yesterday. Today is Tuesday, April 5th, 2022, and it is day 4. Before we kick off this wonderful day, I want to invite you, as I always do, to participate in the Mindful Minute. It's a good way to get yourself to just arrive at this moment. Yeah, right here, right now. Look around. Have you stopped today? Have you looked around and just noticed that you exist? How it feels to exist, what's going on around you, right? And as you start focusing on what's going on here, for a moment, your brain is allowed to let go of the past and the future. So let's use our eyes. Scan your environment, find something that catches your eyes, and just study it. Study what it is, what it's meant to do, how far away it is, how it feels, what the texture might be like, the colors, size, If it's supposed to mean something, think about what it means. And also think about, if it means something, how it makes you feel. And hopefully there's a level of gratitude or thankfulness that you have. With your ears, just pause and listen. What sounds are there happening right now? And only now you're paying attention because you actually are being present. For me, I'm hearing the tick and the tock and the tick and the talk from the clock on the wall. That sounds going on, but I go through my day sitting here in the office, I don't even notice them. So here, noticing those sounds that I didn't notice before, well, I'm being mindful. All right, take a breath in with your nose and out. What do you pick up with your sense of smell? And once again, what does it remind you of? And finally, with your skin, what do you feel? Whether it's the clothing, whether it's the temperature, whether it's an itch or the humidity, what do you feel with your skin? All right, let's move on to the breathing technique. I want to continue to review some of the classics, but remember, you can use any of the breathing techniques that we've used. Some your friends here at Fort Zeller have taught you. I'm hoping tomorrow or the day after, we'll have a new student who's going to teach us a new breathing technique. But for now, I'm going to go back to one of my favorites on a cold day, which is a hot cocoa method. You can join me, or you can use something else. But let's make sure our bodies settle. Notice the chair holding you up. Get yourself in a nice, alert, but comfortable position. If your feet are on the floor, notice how your feet just rest on the floor. I like to close my eyes, but you don't have to. Let's go ahead. Take that first breath in. And out. Let your shoulders relax. You are now in this moment, and you are aware. Breathe in. Notice that cool air going in through your nose, flowing down to your belly, and then breathe out. Cool that cocoa. Notice the warmth of that air coming out through your mouth. As you breathe in again, notice where your brain is thinking, where its thoughts are. As you breathe out, hopefully it's in the here and the now, but if it isn't, thinking about perhaps other things, just tug your attention back to here. And then begin to shine a spotlight through your body. Breathe in. Notice different parts of your body. Notice how they feel. Just simply observe. You don't have to get angry about it hurting or too excited about it being refreshed. Breathe in. Just simply notice. What I like to do is just simply notice my back. Sometimes if it hurts, and I just watch or listen and observe my back as I breathe out. And just notice how it feels and what that feeling makes me feel. And speaking of those feelings, as you breathe out, notice what emotions you've brought to school today. Breathe in. Whatever those feelings are, sit with them. Let them in. I know so often we just want to ignore them. Breathe out. Kick them away. Push them away. Shut the door on them. But instead, invite them in. Be a friend to that feeling. Even the unpleasant feelings, sit down with it as if you've got a friend and you're bringing him in to eat lunch with. And listen. In a moment, you'll hear a bell or a chime. Listen to it as it gets quieter and quieter. And when you can't hear it anymore, you may then open your eyes and awaken to the world that's around you. Welcome to a new day right here at the fort where you are loved, where you are cared for, and where we want you to succeed. Now, whether you have a great day or not, it's ultimately your choice. So choose wisely, work at it, and enjoy the rewards. At this moment, please stand and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You could go ahead and take a seat. I want to thank you for joining me in the Mindful Minute. It's a good way to get yourself settled and to arrive at this moment. We have 3 expectations here at the school. You know them already, but let's go ahead and review them. Number 1, be respectful to yourself as well as to others. Allow yourself to take a step back, right? Oftentimes we want to be in charge. We want to be the line leader. We want to be the door holder. We want to be the helper. You know what? Sometimes the most important thing you could do is do what I'm doing here. Sit back, listen, and observe. Give other people their respect, because when you give it to them, when it's time for you to express yourself, for you to be the leader or the door holder or the helper, well, other people will give you that respect because they're going to remember that you gave them that respect. So it's important that you actually pause and say, you know what? It's time for me to give that respect because you deserve it too. Also, show that you're responsible with your hands, your feet, the words that come out of your mouth, and even how your brain thinks. Responsibility also means keeping your word, right? Being honest. When you just promise a friend that you're going to share something, well, you make sure you do that. That's being responsible. When it's your job to get your homework done, well, you do that because that's responsible. Hey, look, if you need help, ask for it. But you ought to be putting in the effort, right? Don't give up. Well, that leads us to our 3rd B, which is don't give up. Be ready to learn and be ready to fail. You know, sometimes it's nice to actually enjoy the things you can learn from failure. You know, I was talking to one of our teachers recently, and I was talking about coaching. Believe it or not, boys and girls, I used to be a tennis coach for high school girls. And, you know, just with any team, you always have a schedule of other schools you're going to battle, you're going to try to win. But before that season starts, you actually set up some practice games. Well, oftentimes, a lot of teams will try to pick on teams that they know they can beat, you know, just try to do some warm-up. One of the things that our team, our high school girls really enjoyed, well, maybe we didn't enjoy it at the time, but we appreciated, was that we scheduled some really hard teams that we thought could really give us a run for our money, who actually beat us. And the thing was this, every time we got beat, we actually learned some lessons like, oh, you know, when this happens, we ought to do this instead next time, right? And that's not to say that every time we went into the actual season where we were really playing for real, that we would win everything, but we were learning. We were practicing how to fail and learn, and how to learn lessons in failure so that we can get better and better and better. And yes, eventually we did win districts. Eventually we did go into regionals, as we had in Virginia, right? So that was an important lesson to me. So oftentimes kids say, hey, you know, Mr. Lin, do you practice failing? Yeah, I do. You know, and my example of our tennis team, it was a great example. All right. Now, I want you to remember, everything I just told you about is our character trait. Perseverance. Don't give up. Keep swimming. Learn from your lessons. Learn the lessons of your failure. And finally, I want you to hear this from me. I love you just the way you are. Love how different and unique you are, right? It's about tolerance and our diversity and how different you are. Life would be so boring if we were all the same. We all like the same thing. We ate the same food, right? I love the fact that we're different. So I like you just the way you are. Love the way you're growing. Keep up the great work. Have an amazing Tuesday.